Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Now today I'm looking at a book from Oxford University Press. It's an important book. It's another book which looks very much at the position we now are faced with legally, both nationally and internationally, the global world and all the problems that we are looking at within our own legal jurisdiction and other jurisdictions. This book is called International Law and Transnational Organised Crime, TOC to some. The book has been edited by Pierre Hauck and Sven Peterkin, and as I say, it's come to us from Oxford University Press. Elizabeth and I looked at this book, had a chat about it, and our book review and the title for our review is the following: An Easier Access to a Complex Area of International Law which encompasses international terrorism. Now this is in fact to a certain extent a growing area of law, because we've recognised that we're going to have agreements with other countries. Now this is the book itself. It's a sort of plum coloured book. There we go, there's the spine, nothing much on the back. There's the OUP website. There's a dust cover. These are other publications in the series. This is actually linked specifically to international law. Then at the front there's just a little bit of blurb about what's in the book and about the two authors. If we go to the back, you can see that there is a nice index. The index is done on page numbering. The total number of pages, 560 odd pages, something like that. The front of the book, you have, that's the front page, main front page. Then you've got all the blurb, the ISBN stuff. Then you've got the preface. The preface is always worth reading because it gives you an idea of what they're basically talking about and looking at. It's actually dated May 2016 by the two editors. There we are. Then you've got the actual table of contents itself running all the way through. You can see the detail that they're covering. A very wide area of coverage. There are 23 chapters in total. Then you've got the index and a bibliography at the back. Table of cases and other decisions. They are listed by international jurisdiction first, and then they run through from there. Then after that, they've got national jurisdictions, that's specific countries. Then you've got the table of legislation, which is covered as well. And then you've got some very useful lists of abbreviations. There's a lot of abbreviating in international law at the best of times, and in fact this information is quite helpful. You can see that the abbreviation list is quite substantial. And you should find, if you've got any queries, you should find quite quickly what you're looking for. Now this is edited by two people, so a lot of people have been contributors. You can see the names there, probably some people you know. And then you've got on the next page the continuation. Then after that we get into the various parts of the book. The first one, general questions which are raised, and then you can see the structure. You've got the title, you've got a subtitle, then you've got the name of the person who's written it, you've got paragraph numbering, and you've got footnotes. So you should be able within the book to find things quite quickly. And then if we go into the middle of the book, you can see again, this is the UN Firearms Protocol, for instance. All the major crime areas are covered in this book, if I can put it that way. And so you should be able to find what you're looking for quite quickly. The bibliography rather at the back is again very detailed and extremely helpful. This is very much in the style of Oxford University Press publications. I think it's a first-class book, and I'm delighted that we've been able to review it. So what do we say about the book? Well, we say this: as its editors point out, this newly published title from the Oxford University Press offers an innovative and necessarily multidisciplinary approach to the study of transnational organised crime, abbreviated to TOC, not TIC, TOC, transnational organised crime. This is an area which they say has been disregarded by international legal doctrine for a long time, but which has gradually become an important subject matter in state practice. And they're absolutely right, because it's about politics, putting it bluntly to a certain extent. It's about treaties, it's about the way we do our business, and the complete lack of agreement. And anyone who's been to the UN will know exactly what I'm talking about, but you've got to make a start somewhere, and that's really why it has taken a long time. But this area, TOCs in particular, is becoming much more prevalent. It's going to in the future, as the decades roll through this century. We're going to find a lot of changes taking place, and this area is going to be very important. We're going to have to get agreements with those countries that are sane enough to agree, so that we can have an onslaught against those other parts of the world who want to destroy our way of life and the way we operate. So you've got to look at it from that point of view, because the fabric of a state can, in certain circumstances, with transnational organised crime, be usurped. So there are problems. In short then, the editors have expressed serious concern over what they've termed the marginal role that TOC still plays in academic writing. So they've basically filled the gap, if you like. This book therefore seeks to shift what has become an increasingly important area of law from the remote margins to the centre stage of academic inquiry and legal studies. And there is both the high standard of academic content and of course the welcome legal the welcome legal studies approach, which I think everybody will find very helpful. The editorial concerns which have been expressed as well are, we think, well justified. Transnational organised crime encompasses a broad range of villainy, including, and this is only just a partial list, which I sort of mentioned earlier, you can see them in the chapter headings: money laundering, drug trafficking, people trafficking, the smuggling of migrants, very important at the moment, the illicit manufacture and trafficking of firearms, the sale of children, child prostitution and pornography, crimes against cultural property, the illegal trading of endangered species, a big area, believe it or not, very big area, cybercrime, and top of the list as the most divisive and destructive crime of all, international terrorism. I said before, treaties are what you actually need at the end of the day with a lot of this, but we are moving into new areas. Britain's decision to leave the EU could be just the start of all sorts of new agreements that are going to have to be created, not just on trade, but in all other areas of what we do. Interestingly, it's pointed out that the term terrorism only surfaced in the 1979 Convention Against the Taking of Hostages, and it's added that the description of the offence actually contains no explicit reference to terrorism. What follows here is a detailed discussion of the various aspects of terrorism, including the funding of it and the legal instruments and other measures designed to combat it. So the editors and their international team of 28 expert contributors have provided a valuable and certainly informative and thorough examination of specific branches of international law, from international security law through to international human rights law and international criminal law, not to mention the law of the sea and the international law of armed conflict. Now, even from that list, you can see that we are looking now very much at global policies and hopefully eventually global agreements through treaties and other agreements to try to sort things out. Clearly problems within the EU haven't helped matters as far as Britain is concerned, but those problems are there and they're going to get worse as the decades go by. The book therefore meets the needs we feel for an information-rich analysis of the concepts of international law intrinsic to transnational organised crime, a subject area which has been somewhat neglected, as we've indicated, due to its complexity and challenge. So TOC has now been rendered a great deal more accessible, we feel, by the publication of this book. It's not going to go away, it's there, and it has actually been ignored. And hopefully it won't be. The academic world are now looking at it in a different way, and many politicians are, because of the nature of the crimes that we are talking about, which are abhorrent to many and very serious criminal offences to boot. Now, featuring a detailed table of contents, numbered paragraphs, and believe it or not, a 10-page list of abbreviations. They do seem to proliferate in this area, as I have indicated. This volume has been designed for ease of use. It shines too as a research tool with extensive footnoting, a 40-page bibliography, a lengthy table of cases and other decisions, and also a table of legislation. Now let me conclude by saying that this is a distinguished and helpful book that, given the globalization of crime and terror, will perform a valuable function as a reliable source of information and commentary on what is a formidable and often intimidating subject. The bottom line on it is that we haven't actually prioritized this sufficiently in the past, and we're having to reassess it and set the priorities now because of the problems of what we are actually faced with in the second decade of the 21st century. And the date of publication is cited at 2016, and of course I'm recording this towards the end of 2016. There's the book again, just opening it up in the middle. TOCs and Cultural Property. The Hague Regulations respecting the laws and customs of war on land. So war comes into this. You can see the structure of the book again. Lots of footnoting at the bottom. And again, there a bit of paragraph numbering. It's not quite the same as you have in other books, but you've again got a huge amount of academic justification for what is in the book. It's a very, very important book, this, and one that I'm sure we will see a new edition of in due course, but it will certainly be a little while off. I'd like to thank all the people involved in this. It's been a huge work for them to undertake, and they've done a wonderful job. Thank you very much to all of them for what they've done. Bye-bye.